Well, my friends, the 4.1 trailer has dropped, and with it comes some interesting bits of story that I wanted to discuss, namely these two clips in particular.
Who are you? What are you trying to do? Please, don't kill me! I'm begging you!
You will see much in the human world, from the delightful to the depressing. And one day, when you have dwelt among humanity long enough, you will be placed to bring judgment over all as a spokesperson for Fontaine's past.
It is unnecessary to hold me in such high regard.
Both these clips are voiced by Furina, despite sounding wildly different in both of them. In the first clip, Furina is being threatened and is begging for her life, which is wild when you consider she's an Archon, a god. It should be noted, however, Furina is probably the weakest Archon, seeing as she needs a bodyguard, which raises another point. Whoever is threatening Furina probably also dispatched Clorinde as well, making them quite strong, of course, unless they just sort of snuck into Furina's house, which wouldn't, really be new, but there are a lot of creepers all over Tibet, I suppose. Now, there are a couple of theories on who this mystery assailant could be, but before we go over that, let me go over who it probably isn't, and that's Arlecchino. Despite the fact that Arlecchino is in Fontaine and does sound quite displeased with Focalors,
beggars believe just how carefree you have been. From the very beginning, you, the god Focalors, have failed to take action.
Furina stated she doesn't know who's attacking her. We know Arlecchino had a meeting with both Neuvillette and Furina, so Furina must know Arlecchino and probably would recognize her if it was her. The list of people who could have a god fear for her life, even a god as weak as Focalors, is probably not very long, so let's go over the possible scenarios. 1. It's another Fatui Harbinger. We know the top 3 Harbingers all have powers that rival that of gods, but because it's Furina, it probably doesn't even need to be one of the top 3 Harbingers. Of the Harbingers it could be, it probably isn't Capitano, because last we heard he was headed to Atlan. It probably isn't the Mayor or Pantalone, since they reside in Snezhnaya, and Child is currently in lockup. That leaves the Doctor, Damzeletti, or Sandrone as the only real ones who could threaten Furina. Of those 3, the Doctor and Damzeletti are the ones described by Nahida to have power equal to that of the gods, but honestly, it could be Sandrone, since again, Furina's not that strong. I mean, she was taken aback by Child's little transformation. And also, we know that Sandrone utilizes a lot of robots, which doesn't seem that far off for the Gardamex, and we know robots are really present in all of Fontaine. Another interesting possibility is that it could be the Traveler donning his infamous mask that makes him completely unrecognizable to the entire world, attempting to assassinate Furina, a part of the fake charges that Neuvillette is giving him.
I will arrange false charges against you so that you may secretly investigate inside the fortress.
Other possibilities include Furina is faking it, she's dreaming, or she's simply putting on an act. It's tough to tell with the trailers because MiHoYo loves using them to deceive us, like when they showed Lynette vanishing in the tank and we all thought it was something more serious when in fact it was just a magic trick.
Is this part of the show?
You gotta be kidding!
What happened?
Luckily, it's me on stage, so let me show you what a true virtuoso can do.
So, this could just be nothing, keep that in mind. Now, on to the second scene, which shows Furina speaking to Neuvillette, only it doesn't really sound like the Furina we know at all.
Unforgivable!
You will see much in the human world, from the delightful to the depressing. And one day, when you have dwelt among humanity long enough, you will be placed to bring judgment over all as a spokesperson for Fontaine's past.
It is unnecessary to hold me in such high regard.
This marks the third sort of face that we have heard of Furina, all speaking in different tones. There's the brat Furina that we all know.
Unforgivable!
There's the sad Furina in the fountain.
Interminable. So lonely. Just how much longer?
Now there's this wise Furina who's speaking, becoming of that of an Archon.
You will see much in the human world, from the delightful to the depressing. And one day, when you have dwelt among humanity long enough, you will be placed to bring judgment over all as a spokesperson for Fontaine's past.
I think hearing her speak in this different manner gives some more credence to the idea that she has split her soul and there's currently a bunch of different fragments of Furina out there, which helps to explain why she's so weak. There's one out there that's currently really wise apparently, and there's one that's in the Oratrice that powers it and is really lonely. It's kind of like in Teen Titans when they went into Raven's mind. There was a bunch of different Ravens, each with their own distinctive personality. That's how I like to think about it. Furthermore, it seems like Furina knows some of Neuvillette's backstory, which is interesting. It even seems like she's referencing the events of Rumeria, but I could be wrong about that one. It also seems like Neuvillette might know his own backstory, as he does respond, and he also doesn't seem surprised that Furina is talking in the manner that she's talking in, despite the fact that he, above everyone else, knows how bratty Furina can be.
And by the way, I should probably let you know, even though I would prefer not to, there's someone sitting up there in the VIP seats that has been striking a pose for quite a while now. I believe she is trying to give you a most elegant and impressive first impression. So I think you should take notice of her sooner rather than later, otherwise she may become flustered.
Huh? Oh, it's Furina, the Hydro Archon. Huh. She sure has a smug and satisfied look on her face. Guess she has no idea that you saw right through her act.
Very good. That is for the best. No need to pay her any more attention. We may now enjoy the show.
As the lead actress, I shall be the first to take my leave. Toodaloo!
So she chose to make her escape after all, did she?
Which makes me wonder if he knows what Furina may have done to herself, or if he even helped her, seeing as he himself is very strong. And for those that don't know about Neuvillette's backstory, it's currently thought that Neuvillette is the reincarnation of the Hydro Sovereign, who himself is thought to be the Dragon Prince Skyla. Skyla the Dragon Prince helped to form Rumeria by giving God King Remus a goblet to help create the land. However, eventually a bunch of things went bad, a prophecy arose, and when Remus tried to avert the prophecy, he went completely mad by doing a bunch of random ass things like hunting down the Lockfolk and giving divine powers to people. As a result, chaos befell the land, and when Skyla saw this, he kinda just went, what the fuck have you done, my nigga? And so as a result, he sort of just attacked the land by gathering an army of bishops and lockfolk to completely slaughter musicians, as the book says. And as a result, Skyla was locked away under the Great Tower of Rumeria and just sort of died there. So he has quite the dark backstory. Neuvillette does. Regardless, 4.1 should be a lot of fun. We got 2 new story quests, a bunch of events, and Neuvillette's story quest, which should be a huge lore dump on all of Fontaine, given that its name translates to flood, which should be exciting because, you know, Neuvillette is, water and, flooding and rain and all that. Anyway, the lore story quest had to be way more fun than the whatever the hell Kazuha's was. Wow, you were like just a detective and some talking sword that had no bearing on anything and was completely meaningless. So this doesn't look to be one of those. I can kiss you on your balls, Mihalia.